Okay. Thank you, engineers, and excuse me. Mr. Engineer Murabba Satya, do you hear me? Mr. Engineer?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. And at the moment, you are watching the slide number 6, yes? Mr. Engineer Noor, yes?
Yes.
Are you watching slide number 6? Event risk, yes? You are watching this slide?
Yes, later. On the slide.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Salman, for your note. And I sense that many of the students have some difficult problem with the site. I sense because many of the students are absent in the class. And thank you for your note. There are some problems, and we must to continue our lecture. Thank you. Mr. Amin, do you hear me? Mr. Engineer Amin, do you hear me?
Yes, sir, I hear you.
Okay. Mr. Amin, are you watching the slide number 7 on the board?
Risk type example, event risk.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a slide, yes? Okay, thank you.
Well, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I think some students have some problem in the site. And Mr. Mohammed Jassim told that Mohammed Haidar Tahir that he can't see.
Now it's okay, Doctor.
Okay, it's okay.
I can see the slide.
This solved the problem, yes?
It's solved, Doctor.
Okay. I'm in the slide number 9. Key terms. The first one is threat, yes?
Key terms of threat. Opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Haidar. Thank you very much. Okay. And thank you, Mr. Engineer Mohammed Jassim, our brother, for your note. Thank you. Okay. In the last session, at the end of the last session, we discussed about the project risk management, the definition and the meaning and process of the risk management, and after that, the objectives of the risk management. I repeat this slide. In the first part, we discussed that project risk management is the process that we discussed that this process or procedure is a cyclic and dynamic procedure because the step of risk management will be continued and will be repeated during the construction of the project and during the procedure of risk management and construction of the project. Some risk will be added in the future and some risk will be omitted from the procedure of risk management. So the procedural process of risk management or project risk management is a cyclic and dynamic process or procedure. So project risk management is the process of these steps on identifying, evaluating or analysis and planning responses to events about both positive and negative risks that might occur throughout the or during the course of a project. And about the objective of risk management, the objective is to increase probability and or sometimes only probability we discuss, and sometimes both of them, probability and impact of positive risk opportunities, and another objective decrease the probability and or impact or effect of negative risk or threats. But in order to the final or overall objective is this: in order to optimize the changes of project success. Okay.
روح المايك.
Okay. Mr. Engineer Noor, any question?
Yes. No, I have a problem. The mic is.
Okay.
No.
Thank you. Please control it. Thank you. And continue about key terms. The first one, threat, that means negative risks, and opportunities means positive risks. And we discuss about certainties and uncertainties, such as the factors and conditions of our project, that some of them are certainty and some of them are uncertainty at the beginning of our project. Okay, Mr. Abdul Sahib. Do you hear me, Mr. Abdul Sahib? Is our sound clear for you? Me and other students? Mr. Abdul Sahib, don't write anything, please. Please attention to the lecture. If you hear our sound. Mr. Abdul Sahib, do you hear me? Mr. Abdul Sahib, most of the students in the class don't have problem with the sound. Okay, continue. We discussed that at the beginning of any project, well, we will have some uncertainties and some certainties. About the uncertainty is belong to lack of knowledge and add lack of knowledge or data. Sometimes the lack of some useful and some necessary data causes some uncertainties. Okay. Uncertainty, lack of knowledge or data, sometimes both of them. So you can write lack of knowledge and or data about an event, that this event in any project is some factors and some conditions we discussed that reduces confidence in conclusions, confidence or probability in conclusions drawn from the data. And about risk factors.
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. How are you?
Rahmatullah, how are you, Mr. Nuresh?
Alhamdulillah.
Where are you, Mr. Nuresh?
I am happy to
To what?
problem in the VPN and done. I solve it now.
Okay. Alhamdulillah.
Shukran.
First, glad for your visiting, for your presence in our class. Mr. Nuresh, our brother. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Do you hear me clearly, Mr. Engineer Nuresh? Is my sound clear?
Yes, Doctor. Very clear.
Alhamdulillah. Oh, thank you. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you. And the factor about any risk are the first one, probability, that we determine the probability with percentages. Probability, that means how likely the event will occur in the future, near or in the future stages or next stages of our project. Probability, that means how likely the event will occur. And about the impact or effect, excuse me, yes, impact or effect. Impact or effect, the range of possible outcomes about any risk. And the when or time about any risk, that is expected timing. When that risk or the risk will be occurred. When or time, expected timing. During the project stages, project construction. And the other factor of any risk is how often. That means anticipated frequency of risk events. Anticipated frequency of risk events. It's how often. Okay. Any question in this part?
Sorry, Doctor, I have a question.
Okay.
What do you mean by opportunities, Doctor?
Opportunities are some positive risks. Okay. In during the construction of our risk, we explain about some examples in the last session.
Doctor,
Okay. How are you, Ms. Engineer Rania?
I'm fine, Doctor. Thank you. Doctor, can you give, for example, of positive risks?
Yes. Yes. Of course. About the answering of your question, Mr. Engineer, and after that I will answer your question, Ms. Engineer Rania. Positive risks are opportunities in the project. For example, in the budgeting of our projects, if some costs will be reduced, inshallah, in Iraq and Iran in the future, and we have bought some materials for construction of the project, it will be opportunities if some costs or price of some materials will be reduced in the future, for example. It's an opportunity. And any factor or condition of our project can be some or can make some positive risks. And these are opportunities. We will discuss in the detail in identifying risks. That is the operational, first operational stage of risk management, identifying the risk. That in the first step, we must make a list of negative risks that are threats and positive risks that are opportunities. We'll discuss. And Ms. Engineer Rania, yeah?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. Please repeat your question in detail and very clear. Please repeat your question, Ms. Engineer Rania.
Yes, Doctor.
Please read your question in detail and clear.
Doctor.
Ms. Engineer Rania, do you hear me?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. Please repeat your question. You can write in the chat part, Ms. Engineer Rania, if your microphone has some problem. Please repeat your question. Ms. Engineer. Okay. About the Ms. Engineer asked about the probability of any risk. Okay, we will discuss in detail in the future, in the next steps, in the next part of our lecture. Okay.
Enough.
Okay, and we will discuss that we must to make a standard for our risk management in any project. And this is standard according some methods, for example, to make the probability we must to determine, we must to predict the probability of any risk. And we must make a standard for the effect of any risk. Because these two parameters, probability and effect or impact of any risk, must have one number. And by multiplying these two numbers, we make a risk number for any risk in the step of qualification or quality analysis of risk, the step number 3. Okay, so we must make a standard about probability and about the effect or impact of any risk in our risk management for any risk, for any projects, especially. Okay, we will discuss about this parts. This slide is about some key terms, and these are basic, not not in detail, and these are general. Okay. So I repeat about any risk. There are some factors such as probability, that means how likely the event will occur, about the effect of any risk, that means the range of possible outcomes, and next factor about any risk is when or time, expected timing, and another one, the last one, how often, that means anticipated frequency of risk event during the construction of the project. Okay. Any question, engineers? Any question? Okay. If you have any question, please connect your microphone and ask me, please. Okay. The next slide. Continue of key terms. The next one is risk exposure or risk score or risk number. The other name of this factor is risk number. That is quantifiable loss potential of business, okay, usually calculated by multiplying the probability by its impact or effect about any risk. I explained. And about risk appetites or risk tolerance. That means the level or description of risk. The level that the manager decides that the team of risk management to manage the risk of the project during the construction. Okay? So risk appetite or risk tolerance, that is the level or description of risk an individual or group is willing to accept. The next one is a risk threshold. That is a specific point at which risk becomes unacceptable. Okay, and some of the standards that we must make in the risk management in any project is this one: risk level or risk threshold, and the manager of the risk decides to determine the level and the threshold of any risk, or level and threshold of risk management. So risk threshold means a specific point at which risk becomes unacceptable. And about risk awareness. Risk awareness refers to someone who does not want to be negatively impacted by the risk. It's opposite in risk prone. These are opposite. Risk prone, that means who or any team in the project that accepts negative risk or negative impact of risk, and in opposite, risk aware means someone or some team or some group that does not want to be negatively impacted by the risk. And next one is risk trigger. That means events or conditions or factors of condition that indicates that a risk is about to occur. Sometimes there are some traces, some triggers about the occurring of any risk during the construction of the project. So I repeat, risk triggers or trigger that are events or conditions that indicate that a risk is about or near to occur. Any question?
Bala, doctor.
Okay, Mr. Engineer, any question?
I'm asking how the manager of risk determine the risk threshold. How to determine this?
It's belong to some conditions and some decisions that the manager to, for example, about the timing, about the scheduling of project management. I will discuss about this part. For example, according to budgeting of the project and budgeting of the risk management. Okay, the general manager decide to determine the level and threshold of risk management. And about
Doctor,
okay.
means determine by analysis or by what rules or
Yes.
what?
Yes, by analyzing. After analyzing and after to manage the risk, we will report the conclusions and determine the objectives of our risk management. We will report a document that is risk management plan or risk management document to managers of the project, and they decide, for example, the level and the threshold of risk management or about any risk, and they decide and select some risks that they are more important. We will the team of risk management will report this document for or to project managers. Okay, and they decide about the detail of risk management. For example, they decide which of risk to be managed. For example, some risks will be related to political things, such as some environmental risks. Okay, and the general managers and the project managers decide to about anything, about the level, about the threshold, about the risk that the selecting risk that we must manage them. Okay, these are related to many conditions: political, social, economic, environmental, technical, budgeting, timing, other things. Okay. And okay, and we will discuss in detail when we start the steps of risk management procedure. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ali Omer. I think you have some problem, and some problem with the system today in other classes. Thank you, Mr. Aliomer. Okay. Any other question? Engineer? Mr. Engineer, allows Nasser Risan, do you hear me? آقای شعباری سلام عرض میکنم خسته نباشید. Excuse me, engineers. I'm talking to Mr. Engineer Jabari from the university. آقای مهندس شعباری سلام و اگر صدای من دارید خسته نباشید. در خدمت شما هستم. Okay, continue. Any other question, engineers? Miss Engineer Ala Nasser Risan, do you hear me? Miss Engineer Ala Nasser Risan, please connect your microphone and speak with me. Okay. No question. Continue. And some trends and emerging practices, some details, explanations about risk management or about some risks. The first line, non-event risk. Non-event risk that is belong to or related to variability and ambiguity of that risk or that condition or that factor or in general that uncertainty. So non-event risk or risk are belong to variability and ambiguity of that condition or factor of that uncertainty. And project resilience. Project resilience tackles emergent risks that we discussed about it. That are such as this point. The first one, right level of budgets and schedule contingency. Next one, flexible project process. These are detailed of the project resilience that are tackled emergent risks. First one, risk level of budget and schedule contingency. The second one, flexible project processes. Next one, empowered project team. Next one, frequent review of early warning sign. Next one, clear input from stakeholders in scope and strategy adjustment as emergent risk response. And the next term is integrated risk management or overall risk management. Integrated risk management. Coordinated approach to enterprise-wide risk management. Okay. The next one, tailoring considerations. There are some conditions or some aspects about any project that will affect the risk management steps, such as project size. When the project is small or medium or large or mega, these are the size of any project. The level of risk management and budgeting and timing of risk management are different. And the level of risk management about the large and mega projects are higher from the medium or small projects, for example. Another condition is project complexity. This condition will affect the risk management. The next one is project complexity. That, like the size of any project, it can be high or moderately or small, for example. Some decisions about the detail of risk management will be different about the complexity or the amount of complexity in any project. And the next one is project importance. According to importance of any project, the steps, the schedule, the budget of risk management will be different, we know. And the general manager of the project will decide about some objectives and some general or details about the risk management in any project. And the next one is development approach in any project and any team of project management or risk management. Development approach.